Hello everybody, welcome back. I know it's been a couple of weeks since I posted my last video, but obviously the end of the year gets very busy, and I haven't actually had a chance to get to locals the last few weeks. I'm still dying to test out my ABC Lord of the Heavenly Prison control deck, which I still haven't had a chance to test out. So I thought I'd just post a Drytron update. This is something that I do want to take to locals as well, just to have a go at. As you can see, it's Drytron with Invoked. Obviously, Drytron's a deck that doesn't require the normal summon. Diviner does give you a lot in the deck, but the theory is here, obviously, normal summon Alistair to set up Mechaba before doing any of the Drytron things, which would give you a little bit more resilience in establishing your combo. So you can still, what I'm aiming to do is Scythe lock using obviously DPE, and Scythe, but having the protection from Mechaba means that your plays are more often than not going to go through, especially if you're going first. So I'll show off what we've got so far. I've got a side deck as well. When I can actually get to locals, we'll see how it goes. But to start off, it's obviously pretty standard by now, but obviously there's 3 alpha, the best one. 3 zeta as well, 3 gamma, and I'm on 2 delta, and I still like 1 beta. So it's 12 names, plus your spells that access them as well. Yeah, I'm a big fan of the 12, especially if I was playing anything that's not the fairy variant. Obviously the fairies are really strong. You probably don't need to play, if you're aiming for Herald and things, you don't need to play beta. But Draconids is always a big part of my game plan, because I do like to try lots of different variants other than just the plain old fairies, which if you've seen any of my other Drytron videos, you would know. So I like to try out different things, and beta comes up a lot with Draconids banishing Drytrons from grave to send cards on the field. So, and I like playing more Drytron names in general. And then we have 3 Alistair the Invoker. It's a shame I haven't got the 3rd gold rare, but I'll work on that. So like I said, Alistair the Invoker, normal summon, and set up Mechaba, and then go on with Drytron plays. The last 2 monsters that aren't ritual monsters are Manju and Scythe. I'm not playing Dagda in this specific build. The extra deck is quite tight. I had to kind of cut things. And Dagda was one thing I could cut because you still can Ben 10 search twice in a turn, and typically with Ben 10 I'm searching Scythe and Editon, so you're normally normal summoning Alistair as your normal summon. If you have to search Manju, Manju's your first search off Ben 10, and your second search would be then the Scythe, not Editon. Yeah, then the ritual monsters, 1 Draconids, 1 Ben 10, and I'm playing 1 Editon. Now the Editon could also be Chaos Valkyria. The only difference between the two is that if you open a hand using Alistair, Editon I think is just a little bit better because it conserves the light in the grave. You don't have to banish a light for Chaos Valkyria. That being said, it's also a ritual monster, which, so if you draw it in your opening 5, means that it's useful as well for your names. Whereas Chaos Valkyria does require that little bit more setup, but as well, Chaos Valkyria is just a very free extender as well. So it could go either way, Editon or Chaos Valkyria. That you could go either way with that. But when you open, you can go either way. The spells. I'm trying something a little bit different. I've done this before, and it worked out fine, but I'm playing 3 Fafnir. Fafnir is really good at the moment for its last effect, which a lot of people always just forget. But if you leave a Drytron on board at the end of any kind of combo, when a monster is normal summoned or special summoned while you control a Drytron monster, you can reduce that monster that they summon's level by 1 per 1,000 of its current attack. So if you leave a Drytron on board and they summon a monster that has more than 1,000 attack, you can already reduce it by 1, its level. If it's got more than 1,000, obviously, if it's got 2,000 or more, you can go by 2 levels and so on. It's a really good interruption on its own. So Fafnir obviously would search you Nova. So I'm only playing 2 Nova because I'm playing 3 Fafnir. So it's essentially 5 Nova. But yeah, so Fafnir is an interruption on its own, which is really good, leaving a name on board. And if you're ending a combo with Draconids on board, which again you're typically doing, Fafnir again, it's just a free interruption, and it's good against a lot of different meta decks right now, like Virtual World. It affects Sword Soul, it affects Phantom Knights. Yeah, so it's just, I think it's really strong. So I'm playing 3, and I'm playing 2 Emergency, and the 1 Meteorus for the Drytron spells. I'm of course playing 3 Magical Meltdown to search out Alistair. So 6 field spells going all in. And I'm only playing 1 Invocation, just because this deck can be kind of tight for space. And the Alistair portion is really just resilience against hand traps. So it's not really the main focus of the deck. So I'm just playing the 1. You recycle it. If you don't get to use it again, for whatever reason, it's fine. If Alistair gets stopped, Alistair has just soaked up hand traps for you to then go with your Drytron play. So it doesn't really matter if the Alistair gets stopped. So I'm just going as small as possible, I guess, with the engine. So only 1 Invocation. Of course, playing 1 Terraforming, such as Magical Meltdown or Fafnir, and 1 Foolish Burial. And then the last, I think it's 9 cards in the deck for a 42 card main deck. I guess you're just the other tech cards. So I love main decking Dark Ruler no more in this deck. This would probably be droplets, I guess, if I owned it. I'm playing 2 Talents, 1 Called By. I'm at locals where lots of people like to throw out Ash Blossoms and Effect Failers, so Talents is pretty good. And my last 3 cards, I'm just playing 1 Fusion Destiny, 1 Plasma, 1 Celestial. The logic being that obviously drawing Fusion Destiny is great. I decided to just save on space. I think if you were playing in a meta that was more board breaking cards like Droplets and Dark Ruler and things, you could easily just change the tactics for 2 Fusion Destiny. But like I said, at my locals, tactics is fine. So that's the main deck. The extra deck that I'm currently working with is pretty standard, Fafnir, Zeus, Downed, and Lyrilusk. I think it's very standard. It's very good to be playing. I'm playing 2 Mechaba. I don't know if 2 Mechaba is correct. Obviously 1 Mechaba is definitely correct. The other one could be something else, but I think 2 Mechaba is just fine. The 1 DP, of course. And then for the links, 1 Underworld Goddess. Often you find yourself with bodies on board, but you don't really have a lot to do with them at times. Yeah, so Underworld Goddess is fine, ending on IP and then using your extra bodies, especially if you just leave just a name on board. IP can then use that to go into Goddess. 1 Sword, Unicorn, Verte, IP, Anima, and this is the Artemis Link 1, the Magistus Link for the Alistair. I've said it a few times, but I really like Anima over Link Karibo just because it does something going second. It's pretty useful. I've gone for IP and Verte as my Link 2s. IP could be Dagda if you wanted to go that way, and then play maybe another Light Fairy target to search, like the Chaos Valkyria. I know Dagda's really good with DPE to revive Scythe, but like I said, I had to make cuts somewhere. So I think IP is good because it provides just another level of interruption if you need it, depending on if and when you get stopped. And Verte obviously summons the DPE. The current side deck that I've just put this together. I don't know if I'm going to make it to locals, obviously before Christmas, because it's coming close to the end of the year. But you would play something like Triple Droll. I'm playing double Lancia, triple Lava Golem. Going second, you can just side out the Invoked package and side in like 3 Golem, 3 Droll, or the Lancia, depending on, I guess, what the matchup is. 3 Twin Twisters. I'm siding 3 Crossout and 1 Imperm. So going first, obviously you're going to side into the Crossout, plus 1 Droll, 1 Imperm. You could keep 1 Dark Ruler in as well. And And that just really obviously helps for hand traps, to stop droll specifically is the main one. The imperm could be a third Lancer if you didn't want it to be imperm. If you want to play cross out, you could play something else like Judgment, I suppose, or even like Lightning Storm. But yeah, that's the side deck I have got, and I'll just show you a couple of test hands. Okay, so for test hand number 1, we will see what we get. We have Dark Ruler, Meltdown, Gamma, Tactics, and Nova. With this, obviously we've got access to Alistair, so we'll do that first. Normal summon, invocation, link for the Artemis invocation, Mechaba, invocation to put back, grab back Alistair. So it just gives you the hand advantage, obviously is really nice. Another good thing about this deck is you would typically end with Meteor's Drytron, the Drytron ritual spell in hand as well. So being able to have guaranteed monster spell negate with Mechaba is really good. Now this is obviously really awkward. Gamma is not the best name to have with one other name, but we would Nova. Probably, yeah, it's a little bit sketchy. We'll grab Alpha. With this hand, we don't really like Zeta. Would be nice for the ritual summon, but we're not obviously have no ritual monsters, so we're going to go Alpha, Tribute Gamma. Grab Benton. Gamma, Tribute, Benton. What am I doing? Not Alpha. Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll just Gamma Tribute Benton here. We could link off the Alpha for just one extra body, but the body in this situation is not doing anything for us. We don't have Fafnir on board for the level reduction, so it doesn't really matter. The Benton though will search. We will search the Scythe. No, what am I saying? That's silly. No, we will link off the Alpha for the Anima, and then we'll Gamma Tribute Benton. For a second, I forgot Mu Beta Fafnir is a card and exists. So we'll search for the. Could search the Editon off the Benton, because we'll overlay, dump, Zeta. Yeah, no, sorry, we can. I don't know what I was thinking. I just totally mind blanked. So we'll go Fafnir, dump Zeta. Zeta Tribute Editon. Yeah, I was really silly. I was ready to turn 2 monsters into Verte, but obviously not a good play at all. We can Meteorus. Summoning back. Oh, yes. No, that's why that was a bad idea. Dumping Zeta was not correct at all, because we needed to trigger Benton the second time in order to get the Scythe. So we'll just backpedal a little bit here. Instead of dumping the Zeta, so we'll go back to where we had Editon in hand. Meteorus is not in hand, it's in deck. We had the Alpha under the Mu Beta. Mu Beta is going to dump Meteorus. And still, we're in that the same predicament. What am I saying? Obviously, I haven't played Yu-Gi-Oh! In a few weeks. No, don't dump Meteorus. Off Benton, we don't search Editon. We have to search We do search scythe. Yeah. Which I've skipped over. Okay. So then we summon the Mu Beta, and the Mu Beta in this instance, we're going to dump, probably will dump Zeta still. We don't have access to the ritual spell. This will just be Verte with our 2 monsters, but we will actually Zeta get rid of this first. So we can just get the search of the ritual spell. Yeah, we just didn't have enough names to make use of what we had, plus also then do what we need to do. So we'll go Verte here. Verte effect is going to dump the spell and the materials. I know it looks like we're playing a different deck. Looks like we're playing the Invoked DPE, but because we haven't ended with IP, there's nothing stopping us from going pop Verte just to stop Super Poly. Obviously we activate the Phoenix and we would set Scythe. This does look like Invoked DPE, and then DPE would come back obviously on our opponent's next turn to then pop the Scythe. With our 4 in hand. The Tax and Dark Ruler weren't really doing anything unless we got hand trapped, but having these 2 cards is just guaranteed negation with Mechaba, depending on what you need to stop. Obviously there's a lot of Cosmic Cyclone at the moment, so you can stop the Cosmic with the Meteor's Drytron so that the Scythe is protected. And just the Mechaba just helps to ensure that this goes through. And then on the next turn you can just go back to playing Drytron again. That's test hand number 1, and we will do a second one. So that was a little bit more awkward because we didn't draw exactly the best names to combo off with our Drytron cards. There are 2 kind of main combo lines. There's the with Alistair and the without Alistair lines. Let's see what we got this time. Meltdown again. Ben 10 Meltdown. Gamma and Alpha. Okay, so we'll play this one out. Obviously, everyone's favorite combo, Alistair. Invocation. Artemis. Invocation. Banishing those 2. Summoning out Mechaba. And then add back Artemis by putting back Invocation. And again, it's a little bit sketchy again with the names that we've opened, but we'll go Alpha Tribute Benton. We'll add Egerton with Alpha, and Benton will grab Scythe, just so that's locked in. Same as before, we will link off Alpha for Anima. Gamma Tribute the Egerton. Some back. Overlay for Mu Beta. Now with the Mu Beta, we're in a pretty similar situation to the previous one, the previous hand, where we're probably just going to do the same thing. which will be Zeta tribute this. Search the Medionis and make Verte. So the same thing. They're not as strong as obviously it could be, but it's still, obviously it's still a Scythe block, it's still Mechaba, still got DPE floating every turn. I'll do one more. We've got Delta, Alpha, Alpha, Manju, and the Meltdown again. I would love to show Meltdown Alpha Zeta, but we'll might do that just after this. So it's going to be Alistair, of course, Invocation. To that. And then Invocation. So obviously Alistair is not very exciting, but it does do this job well. Setting up Mechaba, you do play into Droll that much more. Droll is obviously very good against Alistair or Meltdown, plus then all of the Drytron names, so you do play a lot more into Droll than maybe you would have normally. But that's obviously where we're starting cross out, and we've got the Droll. So they're playing into Droll, but the resilience going first is just really strong, I think. We'll go Alpha Tribute Delta. Alpha search for Benton. Can Delta tribute Alpha, reveal Benton, draw one, but then, yeah, we'll try this. So we'll go Delta, tribute the other Alpha in our hand. We'll reveal the Benton to draw one. Okay, that's fine. We'll overlay. That's a Zeus. Go for move Beta. Dump the Gamma. So what we're trying to, we can't dump Gamma here actually, no, we're gonna dump the Zeta. We need the Ritual Spell. So dump Zeta. What we're trying to accomplish is 4 monsters. So Alpha Zeta does the 4 monsters really, really easily. 4 monsters means that you can set up IP Verte with Mechaba, which is the goal. Draconids comes in when you don't have the Alistair. So the standard Alpha Zeta, we're going for Draconids, IP Verte, but then with Alistair added in, we go for Mechaba instead of Draconids. It's just more, like I said, more resilient. We'll go Zeta Tribute Benton, grab Ritual Spell. And then Benton search. We'll go Scythe here, because again, we're out of Drytron names, which is annoying, but still fine. We've got our 2 names here, but we've actually also got 2 more names under the Fafnir. So what we'll have to do is we'll go Medionis, take a material off Fafnir to summon back the Benton. We don't have a way to tribute it, which is fine. We've already got the Scythe. If we had Editon, we'd be able to recycle the Medionis, which we're not going to be able to do in this hand, but we'll Medionis, target either, doesn't really matter to add it back. Link off for IP. Now you can Medionis again, rid of that. Benton, and link off for Verte. So this obviously means we don't have the guaranteed spell in hand. Our opponent obviously doesn't know that, but we have to leave Medionis Drytron in the graveyard. We're doing Phoenix. In this situation, we can't really play around Super Poly. We're always going to have 2 darks on the board, so I would leave the Anaconda here rather than pop it with the Phoenix, because you can IP into Unicorn. You can also IP into Underworld Goddess if you've already used like your Mechaba Negate, or once the Scythe hits the field. So going into our opponent's turn, We still have Draconids, which is really good, but it's going to be, yeah, we'll still Scythe and we've got IP into Underworld Goddess. Yeah, otherwise, I hope you enjoyed.